Well, how would you feel if there is an express entry draw and the last drawn score is 521, but you don't receive an ITA because your score is at 520, or your score could even be at 521, but you got beaten by the tiebreaker rule. And now it's going to be your birthday the next week, and your scores are going to drop by 5 points, or your IELTS exam is going to expire in a week's time or 2 weeks' time, and you will have to again score that CLB level 10 in order to be eligible, or your 1 year of Canadian work experience that should be within the last 3 years, which is eligible under CEC, is now falling outside the 3 year period in a span of a few days or weeks. All of these instances are of individuals who are losing out on the chances for invitations to apply, and then probably will never have a chance again, or will have a difficult chance to get an ITA again, because some other individuals who do create their express entry profiles are doing it when they shouldn't be doing it, or are getting those points when they shouldn't be getting those points. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about those instances where people create fake profiles just because they want to see what their scores are going to look like, and they basically have heightened levels of scores for everything, and then they forget about it. Those profiles create a big dent, number one. Number two, those individuals who, in order to get those scores, what they will do is they will use proxy language results. What I mean by proxy language results is that though they do not have 8777 in IELTS, they will record their scores on their express entry profile as 8777 with any test report number, with the intention that once they get the ITA, they will double down on their efforts and make sure that they get those results that they need to get so that they will be able to use the ITA. Bad move. Then there are those individuals who still have yet to receive their ECA reports, right? Their WES reports, their ICAS, IQS reports. It's still in process. But what they do is they update their profiles to show that they have received ECA so that the score gets upgraded. Then there are also those individuals who by mistake or by ignorance, or whatever you want to call it, claim a work experience that they have gained in Canada as an international student under their co-op, etc. Plus, they add their actual Canadian work experience, therefore giving them points for work experience that they shouldn't have received. Now, let me elaborate this one further, because I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to get confused with this one. All of you know that if you are in Canada on a study permit, then the work experience that you have gained as an international student, as an intern, while you were studying, while you were working on a co-op work permit, none of this counts as your work experience. And therefore, when you claim even that end portion of your work experience and you add it to your actual work experience, which you should have calculated, or rather, which actually starts from the day you apply for your postgraduate work permit, you obviously get points for work experience for a longer duration, which you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Again, let me further clarify this for you. For example, you have completed your period of study, and then you had a 4-month co-op work permit, right? And then in that 4-month co-op work permit, you found a job, you started working with that employer, they gave you a full-time internship, full-time co-op job, and from there on, then you started working after you had applied for postgraduate work permit with the same company, and you continued to work. When you created your express entry profile, what you did in there was you showed your starting date of your work in Canada from the date you started your co-op work permit. Now, intentionally or unintentionally, ignorance or otherwise, what that basically did is that the system gave you the points for your Canadian work experience 4 months sooner, 4 months earlier. And this would basically means that though you have received your ITA, and yes, you have 60 days to complete your application, this you will not be able to complete because you are now falling short of 4 months of work experience. This is another instance where individuals out there have received an ITA, but when they shouldn't have received an ITA. Another big one, people claiming points for arranged employment, their job offers, when their LMIAs are still in process. So their employer has obtained, or rather has agreed to process the LMIA for them, or they have come to an arrangement, or they've come to an agreement with an employer who is going to process their LMIA for them. And the application for LMIA is in process, but these individuals are in such a rush, in such a hurry, that they claim the points for the arranged employment even when they haven't really gotten that LMIA. That LMIA hasn't even been approved, and yet they have claimed the points for it. Then there are those individuals who are on an arranged employment in Canada on a closed work permit, right? ICT, intra-company transfer, could be C20 reciprocal work permits, could be some other arrangements, of course, Francophone mobility programs, ICs, any of these closed work permits. You already know that if your employer is going to extend you a job offer, which will state that this job offer is valid for 1 year after you become PR, and you are on a closed work permit after you complete 1 year of work experience, and the employer obviously wishes to support you with a permanent full-time job, then you will be eligible to claim the points for arranged employment. But again, a lot of individuals out there, when you're creating your express entry profile and it asks you under the arranged employment that you don't have an LMIA, of course, you're LMIA exempt, but have you completed 1 year of work experience with this employer? And though you still are 3 months, 4 months away, but in your rush, in your excitement, in your anxiousness, you say yes to that, thereby system giving you that 1 year points, or rather giving you the arranged employment points when you actually shouldn't have received those points. Now, these are all those instances, and I'm sure there are a few others out there as well, whereby you as an individual would receive an ITA because, mind you, express entry system, it's a dumb system. It's just a CRM kind of a tool. It's not checking anything. It's not vetting anything. It's not validating anything. It's not verifying anything at the time you enter the information on it. Of course, there is an electronic footprint. Of course, everything is recorded, but the system has been programmed in such a manner that whatever you put as an input, or whatever is the input, equally you will get an output for it. So if you enter some information in a certain format, it is supposed to churn out the output, which basically gives you the relevant or required points, hence making you eligible for an ITA, hence giving you that number out there, and therefore robbing lots and lots of other deserving individuals of their ITAs. It's extremely sad, and I've seen so many of such instances that you can't even believe. Of course, there are also individuals who create duplicate profiles, right? They want to do that, one with the spouse, one without the spouse, one with job offer, one without the job offer, one with this STEM code, one with that STEM code, or one with this IT code, or one with that knock code. People do all kinds of things, and trust me, IRCC is aware, and it continues to plague the express entry system. Therefore, as I said again, and I will say it, repeat it again, robbing some really deserving individuals of their invitations. Now, when people get so interested as to how is it that the express entry pool got inflated, is jumping up again with so many profiles, a lot of those contributing factors are also of these individuals who decline their profile and come back into the pool. Now, obviously, by now you already know there is no penalty, or there are no repercussions at this point of time for declining an ITA or for creating multiple express entry profiles. Though IRCC has said that it's illegal to create multiple express entry profiles, but there is no penalty for it. IRCC is well aware of it, but they think that the percentage is too small for them to take any action, because that would then create lots of other issues for them. But at this point of time, that continues to plague the system. And as I said, this is something, boon or bane, I don't know, but this is something which we have with the express entry system, which, as you all know, leaves a lot of you out there frustrated. This I have already posted on the Facebook groups that we have. I posted on the Twitter account as well. A lot of people are getting confused with this particular tweet. This, of all that I've said, need not necessarily count as misrepresentation. Now, of course, whenever you record something in your express entry profile, it leaves an electronic footprint. And there are some exemptions around what you can, what you can't, how you can, how you can't. So, for example, you can make any kind of changes that you want in your express entry profile, even after you receive your ITA. So, you could have said something in your express entry profile, then you received the ITA, and you can still make changes and submit your applications. For example, a knock code change, right? Earlier, you thought you were an accountant, but actually you're a bookkeeper. You changed the knock code. You thought you were a software designer, but actually you're a software developer. You could change the knock code. You thought you were an industrial engineer, but actually you're a project engineer. You could change the knock code. So many of these instances. The problem happens is when you have showed your work experience as a doctor, and you've actually never worked for that company, but now you want to show that you were actually an engineer with a different company altogether during the same period of time. This is a big problem, and this is also misrepresentation. So these are the instances you should be aware of. Yes, express entry, simple application, simple system, not too complicated, definitely not rocket science. absolutely perfect for DIY as long as you understand what is the question being asked, what is the required response that you should be providing there, and what are the repercussions for everything that you are saying. As long as you are aware of this, you have a good profile, you have a straightforward profile, you have a straightforward, genuine work experience and background, you have nothing to worry about. But this is for all those individuals out there who do make these efforts to get into the pool sooner. Please don't do it. You really, really are spoiling the chance of somebody else out there. And karma is, as what they say, that female dog, and it can come and bite you in the back. So please don't do that. Do not, you will have your time. You will have your turn as well. If you have everything in your profile, you have everything in your background, you will have your turn as well. But for the time being, let others who really deserve that chance get through first. And then, of course, when your turn comes, you will be up there as well. That's all I wanted to say in this video. Please do create your express entry profile if you're eligible. You never know what IRCC has in store for us. And if you want to continue knowing more about express entry and everything that goes with Canadian immigration, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the other side. Stay forever hopeful.